بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أصحاب السعادة والمعادي الضيوف الكرام السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First and foremost, and on behalf of the Pearl Initiative and the United Nations Global Compact, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Crown Prince of Dubai and Chairman of Dubai's Executive Council, for His Highness's patronage of this forum and for endorsing this event. I'd also like to let you in on a little something. A good friend and colleague of mine, who's actually sitting with us in the audience today, bet me that we couldn't get 500 people to register to a forum titled Corporate Accountability. Well, guess what? I won. Of course, I was greatly helped by the 499 people that came to hear the very inspirational Reem al-Hashimi speak, including myself. Thank you again, Your Excellency, for being with us today. Now, whatever motivated each of you to be with us this morning, you're here, and again, I'd like to extend a very, very warm welcome to you all to this first regional forum convened by the Pearl Initiative and the United Nations Global Compact. We're really here to explore the intrinsic link between business integrity and value creation, or in other words, corporate accountability. And to set the scene, I'd just like to begin with a simple conundrum, which you've probably been asked to contemplate before. It's about a tree falling in a forest with nobody there to hear it. So does it make a sound? Now, some may argue that if there's no way to establish whether it made a sound, then ultimately it doesn't matter. Well, let me apply a slight twist to this question. If we are unaware of somebody's suffering or joy, does it still exist? And if you'll indulge me, allow me to adapt it further to the theme which we're addressing today. If we are unaware of a company's actions and resultant impact on our economies and our societies, does that mean that it's not having an impact? And is there a way of even finding out? This question, ladies and gentlemen, really goes to the core of what corporate accountability is, which is ultimately a company's commitment to being transparent in the way that it accounts, reports, and publicly accepts responsibility for its actions. Now, this includes its financial, its social, its cultural, as well as its environmental performance, all of which are indicators of its true sustainability. So what is it about corporate accountability that makes it so powerful? Well, if you wipe away all the ink that's been spilt on this subject, I think it really boils down to one phenomenon, one powerful phenomenon, and that's trust. We all know how important trust is in our lives. We know that it's the lifeblood of positive and lasting relationships. And why should it, or let me ask you this question, why should the role of trust be any different for businesses in their relationship with their stakeholders, which are defined as anybody who can affect or be affected by an organization? The simple answer is that it isn't. The role of trust is the same anywhere. Just as governments have a social contract with their constituents, companies have an unwritten contract with their stakeholders. And the prize on offer is not just a social license to operate, but it is true value creation. And unlike reputation, which is based on an aggregate of past experiences, trust is a forward-looking, forward-facing metric. And it really is increasingly considered one of the most powerful and valuable commodities in the workplace today. Think about it. All businesses, no matter where they are operating in the world or whatever industry they're operating, are ultimately in the people business. It's about the relationships which we forge and the trust that we create that matters most to our success at the end of the day. Now, countries world over and their respective businesses are catching up on this. This year, the UAE topped the globally recognized Edelman Trust Barometer in both the government trust as well as the business trust categories. However, just like all interpersonal metrics, trust is something that once gained must constantly be nurtured and reinforced for its positive effects to remain intact. Highlighting the leadership's strong belief in this principle, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, said in response to these rankings, "In order to maintain these achievements, we must double our efforts and harness our potential in the best service of the people, as well as for meeting their expectations." And therefore, the importance of trust doesn't end there. The way I see it, the formula works roughly like this. Trust helps companies generate value and resilience, enabling them to grow. Growing companies create more jobs, stimulate economic activity, and in turn provide new opportunities for entrepreneurs. These professionals and new business owners gain the skills necessary and the markets that they need to create the industry and the jobs of the future. And all of this stimulates the economy as an ethical, transparent place in which to do business, creating a nucleus for foreign investment. And so the cycle continues. And really in this way, it's clear that accountable and well-governed companies are the building blocks of any sustainable economy and society. And here in the Middle East, the impact of youth unemployment across the region has been well documented. And for that reason, nothing could be more timely. Even here in the GCC, we can expect our workforce to grow by 4% each year, meaning that by 2020, the year of our very own expo hosted here in Dubai, the region will need an extra 3 million jobs for Gulf nationals entering the job market. And we know that we cannot and we should not expect our governments to employ all these people. Therefore, the only sustainable solution is to have healthy companies generating jobs and strong economies providing opportunities. These are the real drivers behind social and economic sustainability, and all of us have a role to play. Now, through the work of the Pearl Initiative, we've often come up against a perception that governance measures, such as corporate accountability, are only really relevant to larger, more established businesses. Nothing could be further than the truth. These principles are just as applicable, if not more so, to smaller companies and even startups. In fact, small enterprises can arguably benefit the most, from these sorts of principles by increasing their appeal to investors, to employees, to partners, and to customers, which can help them grow faster and steadier than they otherwise would or could. Now, there are obviously many strands to this overarching theme, and we will be covering a lot of them over the course of the day, from cultural leadership, diversity in the boardroom, to anti-corruption, to the role of civil society. We'll be looking at these topics from a multitude of angles. And I'd like to strongly encourage each and every one of you to contribute as actively as possible to the day's discussions. Now, on that note, I'm very proud to say that there are close to 150 students participating in today's forum. Welcome. From my perspective, and I'm now addressing the students, you are the most important people here. Sorry, Varouj. And you're not just here to listen. Really, you're here to contribute and to engage. You can choose to take as much as you want from the generation that precedes you, but then ultimately it's up to you to make something new. And it's really your generation that will be soon on the front line of the changing corporate culture in our region. And now is the time for you to start stepping up to this challenge. Fellow delegates, I want to thank you again for your time and for your commitment being here today. On behalf of the Pearl Initiative, I'd just like to express that it's an honor to be participating with the Global Compact in this forum. The Global Compact is the largest corporate sustainability initiative in the world, with over 8,000 partners in over 145 countries. Sorry, Georg, if I'm stealing your thunder. And we very much look forward to working together to further our collective goals in the region. And I, again, of course, would like to thank Sir Mark and Georg for their stewardship and for extending a warm hand of partnership, and of course for being here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody has all the answers. If we did, then we wouldn't need to convene forums such as these. However, I strongly believe that these collaborative discussions can help us to develop the right, locally relevant and culturally nuanced solutions for the region, and ultimately bring about the resolve that we need to be the change that we seek. Thank you very much.